It is the end of the self-checkout lane. People of this country rejoice. Walmart is removing self-checkouts. Amazon's just walk-out stores are being abandoned and failing. Why? Because people are stealing. Yeah, who'da thunk? Oh, man. And I really love this story right here from the Washington Times. Amazon's just walk-out stores relied on 1,000 people in India, not artificial intelligence. Oh, man. Okay, let's start from the beginning here. First of all, we're all really annoyed with self-checkout. How dare you make me do the job? Like, it's this craziest thing. The whole store becomes a vending machine. If you want to sell me a product, you get a person in the store to sell the product to me, okay? They make self-checkouts like, why don't you do all the work? And we won't change the price of goods. We'll just turn it into profit. Sure. Well, it didn't work. And then you had the Amazon just walk-out stores. The way it worked was you signed up for Amazon, scanned your phone or whatever, walked into the store, grabbed whatever you want, and then walked out. And then it would bill you. According to this story, it wasn't actually AI tracking you. It was 1,000 people in India. You'd go in and then they'd write, would write down what you bought and then charge you for it. I don't think that's necessarily true because I was able to dupe the Amazon system. I do, and so I can semi-debunk this story. They certainly had an automated system that tracked what you bought, but they probably had people in India watching for illicit behaviors or something like this. But let me keep it real simple for you guys. They decide we should do the work at these stores and they shouldn't have to. And so here's what happens. People would go through self-checkout and they would, forgot to scan an item. And that's all that it took. Amazon told me, let's go back in time. I did a video where I basically did an exploit to get a whole bag of groceries for the cost of like a pack of mints or something. And full disclosure, everything was totally paid for. We called and informed Amazon how this went down and everything, so everything was okay. We did not actually steal. However, what we were able to do, I went into the store, I filmed a time lapse of grabbing groceries and walking out with no cuts or edits, a full time lapse, and then I showed the phone, I pulled all the items out of the bag, and I said, and there it is, one pack of mints for $1, and I got like $100 worth of groceries. Now, I talked to Amazon, and they said they didn't care. They didn't care. The general idea, and it's been a long time, so I don't know if this came directly on the phone call or whether this is just in other reports, was the cost of theft is less than the cost of employees. They save so much money on employees, they don't care if you steal. Not anymore. They're abandoning these stores. Yeah, it doesn't work, and self-checkout doesn't work because people are stealing, and it actually has gotten really, really bad. The long story short for the Amazon thing was I went in, filled up a bag, and then when I walked out, wasn't charged for it. I don't know if I've ever actually revealed the way to do it, and I think it's because I don't want people to repeat it, and it can be done. But there's a bunch of other exploits I can tell you about that people have apparently done. I don't know if this is true, but I've heard reports that people sign up for Amazon accounts with preloaded cards, preloaded Visa cards that have very little money on them. They walked in, would load up a bag of groceries with a $5 card on their account, put $100, $200 worth of groceries in the bag, and then walk out because no one stops you. And then card declined. That's the other crazy thing about Amazon. I don't know if they consider this. If in good faith, you have an account and you go to the grocery store and you load all this stuff up and then you walk out and then your card gets declined for insufficient funds or just because the bank is like, we're not extending your credit or something like that. You have the groceries. I mean, they're not going back. What are you going to do? Be like, oh, should I go back? No, you go home, you eat all the food, you put it in your fridge, and then you look and you go, oh, I didn't realize there was a decline. Whoops. Walmart, self-checkout. The future is stupid, isn't it? Well, here's what's happening with Walmart. There's one video I watched where a lady gets a guy to load a TV onto a cart, then takes a tomato, walks up to the self-checkout, scans the tomato and pays for it, and then tries walking out. And the receipt checker says, this is for a tomato. And she's like, yeah. And they're like, you have a TV? And she's like, oh. So they call the police, and then the police are like, all right, you're going to jail for theft. It's like, but I didn't even leave. And that, I got to be honest, that actually is true. Okay, dude, the lady, I don't know if it's fake or not. It's probably fake. The cop's like, come on, we're going to jail. This is theft. And she's like, but I didn't even leave the store. And they're like, yeah, but you tried to, attempted theft. And it's like, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think that lady should go to jail. The issue is if you walk up to an employee and you say, is it okay if I take this? And they say, yes, you didn't steal anything. Of course, she was trying to trick them, like hoping they'd look at the receipt, I guess, and then be like, yeah, everything looks good. But, you know, a $2 receipt. Now, look, when it comes to self-checkout, what people do, and this is a big component of why they're shutting it down, they'll get like a full thing of groceries, and they'll have a few items that when they run over the scanner, it doesn't scan, and they put it in the bag anyway. Yeah, I know, and sometimes you get the unexpected item in bagging area, and then they're confused. What happens is, whether or not it's intentional theft, there's error as well. So just the other day, it's a really good example. I was at Sheetz gas station, and we were buying a bunch of protein shakes, and I thought I scanned them all. No, this is for real. I grabbed like 6 protein shakes, and I could have sworn it booped. And then I put it to the side, and then I went through it. Now, I then looked at the thing, and I was like, wait. One of the protein shakes was missing. And I was like, what? The vanilla one? That's the first one I scanned. Scanned it again to make sure it went in. But imagine I didn't notice that. I would have just hit cash pay. There's no one around. It's a self-checkout. I would have thrown it all in the bag, and I would have walked out and had a free protein shake. That error happens. So these businesses are all basically abandoning their self-checkout, which of course annoys everybody. Let's read this Amazon one, because this one I think is funny. Because this one's not just about self-checkout. This is about the failures of AI. Washington Times says, while Amazon's Just Walk Out technology at its fresh grocery stores was touted as being powered by artificial intelligence, a new report says it actually relied heavily on manual monitoring by some 1,000 people in India. Amazon announced this week that it will be bailing on the Just Walk Out checkout technology, which used cameras and sensors to scan each item and shift to the dash cart, a self-checkout shopping alternative. The information website first reported that Amazon's artificial intelligence technology just meant outsourcing hundreds of jobs overseas to workers who can watch you shop in real time. Amazon spokesperson Sarmishta Ramesh vehemently denied the allegations in an email to dailymail.com, saying human staff in India annotate video images, which includes training AI-powered algorithms to recognize objects on the screen. The Mail reported. The annotation, she said, is necessary for continuous improving the underlying machine learning model powering Just Walk Out technology. I'm 100% certain computers were actually doing it. And I can tell you this because I personally exploited the whole system. And as I mentioned, was able to get a bag of groceries for the cost of a pack of gum. If I were to have gone in, loaded up all of the groceries in the bag, and it was a human being watching, marking down what I was taking, and then when I walked out, I would have paid full price. The computer is stupid and doesn't understand things, so it doesn't know what's going on when I was able to do what I did. A human being would have registered everything I did and been like, they took their bag contains these things. And I will say this, without going into full detail on the exploit, I went in and I grabbed things off the shelf and I put it in the bag. I won't explain where the exploit took place. I may have in a video a long time ago, but I'm not going to do it now just because, I don't know. I don't know if I did or didn't. But humans watching likely would have realized what was going on and just been like, yeah, no, that's it. They say as Amazon withdraws Just Walk Out from its U.S.-based Amazon Fresh locations, its replacement, the Dash Cart, a smart shopping cart, will harness an integrated scanner and screen to enhance the shopping experience. Now, that kind of makes sense. You have a shopping cart. It's got a pad on it. I don't know exactly how it works. Do they actually have the info on that one? Here's how I imagine you do it. The shopping carts, you walk in, you grab one, and it'll have like an iPad or like some kind of tablet. And whenever you grab something, you just scan it on the cart and you put it in. And then once you're leaving, everything's already scanned. Like, that's easy. You grab peanut butter off the shelf, you go boop and put it in the cart. Then you grab something off the shelf, boop, and you put it in the cart. And that's it. And then you click done shopping and it says slide your card and you swipe it right in the cart. That makes sense to me. That being said, Shoplifting is still going to be a huge problem if that's what they do. Because people will just put things in the cart without swiping it. I mean, this is stupid. I guess ultimately, unless you have a barrier by the exit where there are humans waiting and you have to go through that checkout line, people are going to get away with stealing. I'll tell you why. You go to a grocery store and there's a row of cash registers with people scanning items, and you stick a candy bar in your pocket and try and walk out, and someone sees you, they're going to stop you and say, you just tried to steal a candy bar. That's a crime. Gotcha. What happens if you have the self-checkout cart and you grab a candy bar off the shelf and you go to scan it, but it doesn't scan, you don't realize. Then you walk out with the cart and there's an extra candy bar in there. Even if they do stop you and say, hold on there a minute, let me see all your items, and they go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and they're like, this candy bar wasn't scanned. You go, oh, my bad, it must not have scanned, I don't know. You're not going to be able to convict someone of, oops, it didn't scan properly, I didn't realize. And it's the same thing with the self-checkout lines at Walmart. Theft. Someone's going to grab like a gallon of milk, a thing of cookies, some crackers, and maybe like a thing of ice cream, chocolate syrup. And as they're scanning it, the chocolate ice cream is not going to, or the chocolate syrup won't scan, and they'll put it in the cart and they won't think twice. And then you know what happens? There's going to be someone who intentionally runs the item over the scanner where it can't see the barcode so that it doesn't boop. And then they put it in their cart and they save themselves $4. You do that enough, you save yourself a lot of money. You can track that. In the end, I just want to point out, they try to do these cost-cutting measures to make us do the work at these stores. And all that happened was people robbed them blind. Welcome to your low-trust society. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all then.